your host, nationally acclaimed speaker and author, Debbie Georgatos. Ladies, Can We Talk starts now.
Well, hello, and welcome to Ladies Can We Talk. Thank you so very much for tuning in for the next 2 hours on Ladies Can We Talk. We talk about all sorts of things that have to do with America and preserving our precious country. And we have a great show lined up tonight. We have, just starting in 15 minutes, Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, who'll be on with us for 2 segments, so pretty much 6:15 to 6:45. And we're going to talk with him both about Hillary Clinton's testimony in the Benghazi hearings and also about a piece he wrote on the Alan West website, which I will direct you to. And it is about, where we stand in the world today, kind of stepping back from the immediate international troubles, where we are watching history, and are we in a place where we need to be really taking stock, taking account of the rise of powers around the world, very, very antithetical to America, to world peace, and what we should be doing about it if we actually had a strong national military leadership in this country, which we do not. So we'll be talking with Alan West at 6:15. And at the top of the second hour, we have a new guest, someone I actually have not even met yet, but she is the president of the Rockwall County Republican Hispanic Club, and her name is Enid Reyes, and she's going to be calling in tonight. She is going to talk about her efforts to bring the conservative message to the Hispanic community and how she thinks that the GOP really could win more Hispanic votes and how we go about doing that. And joining me in our second hour roundtable, my leading ladies tonight are Carrie Kellerman and Jenny McGarry. We're going to talk about Hillary and what should the GOP do to get the women's vote, given Hillary is apparently going to be our candidate on the left, and because Joe Biden is now out and Bernie Sanders is a communist. So pretty much we're going to have Hillary. So we got to decide, how does the GOP talk to women? What do we do about that really vital demographic of young single women? How do we bring them along? So very packed show tonight. I want to kick off this segment. I call it my Speak Up for America segment. And I try in this segment to hit on one issue about America that really conservatives, patriots, just people who love America should be focused in on. And it takes a little bit of an explanation I just have to share with you to start with. And today's show is Sunday, October 25th. Well, just 2 days ago, on Friday, in the United States Congress, the U.S. House passed a bill which is being touted by the leadership of the GOP, the alleged conservative Republican leadership, is being touted as a reconciliation bill that will simultaneously partially repeal Obamacare and an attempt to defund the Planned Parenthood. And so I would just say, I think that most conservatives would say, gee, those are kind of top drawer items for conservatives. People work hard in the elections. We work hard to get people elected who represent Republican or conservative views. These are big, big issues. And so this is great that we have the House taking a strong position, passed a reconciliation bill that essentially, and they claim it's called the Restoring Americans Healthcare Freedom Reconciliation Act. They claim it defunds Planned Parenthood and partially repeals Obamacare. So the question I want to ask you, and I'm going to answer it, is why, now that the bill's been passed by the House, it's going over to the Senate this coming week, why would the Senate's most conservative members, 2 of them being presidential candidates, Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio, along with Senator Mike Lee, why would those 3 conservative senators be speaking out against it and urging their Senate Republican colleagues to vote no? I mean, you really should ask yourself this, because honestly, in many circles, this bill is being touted as, hey, look, the GOP is doing what they promised, doing what they said. And there are really important answers to this, and they really go to the heart of this Speak Up for America segment, or Speak Up for America, which is, it's important it's wonderful and great to be politically active. It's important to vote. It's great to get behind your candidate you like and to try to help him or her and to tout what he or she is saying. It's a great, great thing to be an activist. But we also have to be alert. We have to be savvy. We have to be willing to connect a few dots and understand what's really happening behind the scenes. Because the short story is that the effort the House passed, which appears to be doing those two great things, is actually not only not going to accomplish either, but actually going to set back the effort to accomplish both. These are not moves intended to actually get the result desired. And when I say that, I mean exactly what I say. It's not just that these efforts may fail. It's not just that this reconciliation bill may fail to get to the goal of the partial repeal of Obamacare and the defunding of Planned Parenthood. It is that at least the cabal of GOP leaders in Washington, it's exactly what their goal is, to appear to you, the voter, to be doing the will of the people, to appear to be responding to the pressure from conservative activists and saying, yes, we're listening to you. By golly, we're going to do what you wanted. It is intended to deceive you. And this is why the senators I mentioned, the three really top conservative leading senators in the United States Senate, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, and Mike Lee, are against it. Let me just explain a little bit about why. And let me back up and say another thing you have to understand. I mentioned the importance of being a diligent patriot and connecting dots. Behind the scenes in Washington, what has been happening over the last several years is that the United States Chamber of Commerce has had a bigger and bigger role in shaping what the GOP leadership brings to the floor, what they try to do, what they stand for, what their goals are. And the Chamber of Commerce, you might think, well, that's probably conservative because after all, they stand for business and we all love business. But the federal level, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, is run by a man named Tom Donahue. He has at his disposal millions and millions and millions of dollars to persuade elected officials to see things his way, to make donations to those elected officials in exchange for promises to do what the Chamber of Commerce wants done. The Chamber of Commerce is actually far more driven by a globalist mentality, not a what's best for the American family, what's best for the American worker, what's best for the American business. It is a globalist mentality. And Tom Donahue, this president of the Chamber of Commerce, has met privately with the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, our Texas U.S. Senator John Cornyn, the current Speaker of the House, John Boehner, although we believe he's stepping down October 31st, is getting close, he's still there, and other people in the Republican Party, and essentially said, our goals at Chamber of Commerce, our four top goals, are these, and I'm going to tell you what they are. They're very simple to follow. The full implementation of Obamacare without adjustment. This is a Chamber of Commerce supposed to be representing business interests, which is very different from representing conservative values. So it is full implementation of Obamacare, the support of comprehensive immigration reform, including amnesty for illegal aliens, support for the full delivery, keeping intact Common Core, the educational standards that many conservatives fight over and over and over. And the last one is support for the Trans-Pacific Partnership trade deal. We've talked about all those issues in the show before, and we can't go into those tonight. But in this Speak Up for America moment, I urge you just to think about what's really happening with respect to Obamacare. The GOP, the leadership in Washington, promised the conservatives in Congress, not all Republicans are conservative by a long shot, the GOP agreed with the conservatives months ago that we would not try to repeal Obamacare through the budget process, but instead would try to repeal portions of or repeal portions of Obamacare through the reconciliation bill, which is what we're now talking about, which just passed Congress this past Friday. But instead of actually attacking the entire Obamacare legislation, instead of taking the whole bill and saying it's out, it's gone, we're not doing this, the pieces of Obamacare, you notice the GOP was careful to call it partial repeal. The pieces of Obamacare being repealed by the GOP are not the pieces that you and I and your basic average American citizen cares about. The portions of Obamacare being repealed in this reconciliation bill are the pieces that the Chamber of Commerce wants repealed. It is an agenda driven by the Chamber of Commerce, millions of dollars of donations to elected officials who are orchestrating this whole reconciliation thing. This is what's happening behind the scenes in Washington. And so when conservatives say we're not going to back this, and the other thing that happened, I should throw in quickly, is on the House side, too many Republicans are afraid, elected Republicans are afraid to be seen on the wrong side of things, to not sign on to this reconciliation bill, even if they see what's happening. Maybe they don't see what's happening, but even if they do, they don't want to have a vote against the repeal, even a partial repeal of Obamacare. So they stand for it and they sign on, they vote for it, but it's not going to get us to the conclusion we want. It's not going to get us where we want. In fact, worse than the fact that it won't get us where we want is that this effort, of course, will be opposed by President Obama. We can't go anywhere with it. President Obama is not going to sign this. And so we will have another failed attempt at a partial repeal of Obamacare. And it's an attempt on Obamacare to do it via a vehicle that prevents a big stand down, a big argument about shutting down government, who's going to shut down government. That's only going to, because under reconciliation, the Senate side, you only need 51 votes. And so they can get this bill passed, this reconciliation bill passed, House and Senate. But at the end of the day, President Obama is going to ignore it. There's nothing anyone can do about it. So it's an inconsequential effort, intended to be inconsequential, intended to be kind of a show vote to give people the chance to say, oh yeah, look at me, I voted to partially repeal Obamacare. But it also plants in the American public's mind the notion that Republicans are ineffective, can't really accomplish it. So when the real effort to repeal Obamacare comes along, we have failed effort after failed effort after failed effort. At the end of the day, we look like we can't lead, which is exactly what the Democrats say and exactly what the American people will say. This is Debbie Georgatos, and Ladies, Can We Talk? We're on 660 AM The Answer, and we're up to our first break. And right after this break, we're going to have on tonight Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, who will talk with us about a number of really important issues. And the Speak Up for America moment we just finished right now, at the end of the day, my urging to you is you need to connect the dots and recognize just because the GOP says they have a bill, reconciliation bill, to repeal partially Obamacare and defund Planned Parenthood, it will do neither. Go to our Facebook page. We'll post links. You can read all that you want to about it and understand you're being played, and we shouldn't put up with that. Come on back after our break.